The New York Islanders, 6-3.
Yep. 6-3.
Not good. Not good. I'm so upset I'm not even set up properly. I started this podcast and I haven't even set up for it properly like I should be. Pretty disappointed after this game. I feel like doing this podcast yeah, just shoot me. Like that was painful. That was painful. After watching the Islanders play their best period of the season in the first period, only to watch the rest of the game was painful. Was painful indeed. No shame in losing to the Stanley Cup champions, but there sure is a lot of shame with the way the Islanders lost tonight. I have a million thoughts on my mind. I'm so upset right now that I know I'm going to forget probably well more than half of them. I probably should take notes, but I prefer doing this podcast by just letting it rip off the top of my head. Steve Dangle, when he does his podcast, he says he does these one takers every once in a while because I guess he wants his podcast all polished and everything. But I find that my one takes is the real me. I may miss some things and some thoughts. Sometimes I'll pick up on them later in another podcast. I did say, like in the last podcast, I said you don't know what Florida team to expect this year. One moment they look like the Stanley Cup champions, the next minute they look like they're in a Stanley Cup hangover. We pretty much witnessed that in one game. They looked like they were in a Stanley Cup hangover in the first period, and they looked like the Stanley Cup champions in the last two. So let's get to it. What an exciting start for the Islanders. Dennis Cholowski early in the game, 132, and beautiful snipe from the point, and that's what happens when you shoot. Great start for the Islanders. I was thrilled, but I knew it was early. So, and I knew we were playing the Stanley Cup champions. But then as the period progressed, I was pretty pumped. But and at 6:01, Palms. The guy who's just been reborn in the last couple of years scores his fourth of the year from Pulick and Sipkoff. Sezika's got an assist on that goal by Cholowski on the first one as well. And to make it even better for us, Brock Nelson puts us up 3-0 with his fourth of the year. Max Sipkoff and Cal Palmieri grabbing the assist. I want to say on that Palmieri goal, what a great forecheck it was by Sipikoff. That goal never would have happened without his forecheck. He leads the team in hits right now, and he's great at forecheck and he's great at board work. So how excited can you get being up 3-0? I tell you, feeling good, but I knew you know, Brock scores at 11:41 left. There's still 49 minutes left to play. I knew there was still a game to go here and that anything could happen. But for me, it was very frustrating to see Sam Reinhart get a easy breakaway like that on just such a brain fart of a play to completely let the Panthers off the hook. We had them right by the cone, as right by the cone as we had them in them one little brain fart line change. And we give up a goal. Now it's only a 2-goal lead instead of a 3-goal lead going into the second. And that's huge. And I know it's Sam Reinhart, and I know Reinhart scored over 50 goals last year and had a great season. He's off to a great season tonight, and he had a breakaway. But uh, I was just hoping, and the only thing I was disappointed on that goal was I was thought, we could use a save at a time like this when you're up 3-0 to keep that lead and everything. And I thought he beat Barley pretty easily. It was a good shot. I mean, I'll never blame Barley for that goal. It was a good possibility Ilya would have given up the very same shot. So, but I just thought, this is a time that we need to save from our goaltender. Didn't get it. And of course, it's late in the last 2 minutes of the period. And of course, that gives something for the Panthers to chew on. So we had a fantastic first period and we come out of it smelling like roses. We're up 3-1. A little disappointing that we gave up the lead. But then we get to the second period and this Chuck goal. This one has a burr inside of me right now. Not how that the goal was scored and everything. And not so much even what Chuck did because he does that kind of thing all the time. My problem with that goal is the response from the Islanders. There was zero response from that. And then we have the opportunity later in the game when the game is pretty much out of hand. And we have a chance to make him pay for what he did to our goaltender. He cross-checked him and then gave him three shots to the head. Scott Mayfield, you're standing right there. I don't care if the guy just scored a goal. You walk up to him, drop your mitts, and start pounding him. Like, holy smokes. God, I miss old time hockey. I miss ah. I hate to be that guy that misses the way it was, but holy smokes, man, you just cannot let a guy do that. Chuck's gonna do that, but you can't let him do it. And there's no way that should have been a goal, but I am not blaming that as an excuse on this game because you know what? Even if that goal was disallowed, Florida was going to win this game. I can tell you that right now. So to check from Verhage fairly early into the period, 6:38 into the period, and all of a sudden it's 3-2 game, and we got lots of game to play, over half the game to play, and that's when it gets a little scary. And the domination just continued on for the whole period, it just kept coming. And then a late one, Samskovich, whatever the heck his name is, like, and that was just brutal. I'll be talking about Barley and Barley's at the end of the game, but man, what an overplay there by Barley. That was just a horrible game. Could not have that goal go in. And all of a sudden you're looking at 3-3 going into the third period. And that was horrible. That was horrible. I have to keep reminding myself that Barley is our backup goaltender. I have to keep reminding myself that our backup goaltender was in against the Stanley Cup champions tonight, and it showed. But like I said, I'll get into that a little bit later as we get into it. So the fourth period starts, and it doesn't take long for the Panthers to put a dagger in our heart. It's only 6:19 of the period, and he scores what some might think is, oh, unlucky goal. Well, for me, I want to know why Varley was that deep in his net to have a guy who's standing inside the blue paint, a puck that can go off you and deflect to him and then go back into the net. How can you be that far back in the net? Like, Tkachuk was on the boards on the half wall. He was on the half wall. How can you be that far in the net? Like, I get what you were doing. You were trying to clear the rebound to the side, but when you're standing on the goal line from a shot from the half wall, oh yeah, our backup goaltender was in tonight, and it we paid for it. We paid for it, and that's what happens. I know Varley's going to have some great games for us this year, but we got beaten badly with our backup goaltender in there tonight, not laying it all on Varley because the team just actually stunk up the arena for the last two periods. So yeah, so that Bennett goal just absolutely sucked. And then to Chuck just to rub it into our wounds was a power play goal. His second of the year from Boquist and Lundell, 5-3, game over. Why isn't somebody fighting to Chuck by this point? Why? Why? It's 9:49 he scored at. We're losing 5-3. We're not coming back. We're not coming back. I know you're supposed to think it, but sometimes you just, for the pride of your team and everything, you just have to respond to what Matthew Chuck did to our goaltender. You can't let that lie. I'll look past the part that it should have never been a goal. I'll look right past that, but I can't look past the response of the Islanders. It's just horrible. And then after what was it, their fourth or fifth crack at the empty net, Gustav Forsling scores his third into an empty netter to make it 6-3 for the Florida Panthers. And that means that the Florida Panthers responded with six consecutive goals after going down 3-0. This one hurts. This one hurts. Now, it's a crazy NHL, and it's not like it used to be. It's just not. There was Boston, they were beating the Leafs, and Boston's 3-4 4-1 this year. Toronto's 4-4. Neither team's doing that great. The Leafs tie it up when they pull the goaltender. This is just becoming such common practice that teams scoring with the extra attacker that you shouldn't really be surprised. It doesn't seem to happen with the Islanders, but it seems to happen a lot with the other teams. Last year it happened for us a couple times. I shouldn't say that, but yeah, I know some good teams are failing. So there's Boston, they're a point behind Toronto and they blow it, but they got it back in overtime. But that just goes to show you from Toronto side being 4-4. So they could have got that extra point back after being lucky getting the 6-5. It doesn't matter. But the point of the matter is there's a lot of weird shit happening around the NHL. And sometimes you just got to take these for what they are. And I look at it as if we could somehow box up how we played in that first period and bring that into the rest of our periods for the rest of the games this year, then that would be just fantastic. So, excuse me. Let's get into the players here. Let's talk about Sipakov. I think Sipakov had his best game as an Islanders tonight. He was absolutely outstanding. Just play after play was the right play. Leads our team in hits right now, +1, 2 assists, shot on goal. Yeah, he just just did everything right. That the second line I'm going to rename into the first line because in my opinion, when you'll see after talking to everything, but in my opinion right now, the Nelson Palmieri line with Sipakov is by far our best line. And but that could be solved, and it's not really the first line's fault, but it really good game by Sipakov. It's good game by the second line. It's just disappointing to waste great effort like that on a 6-3 loss. Holmstrom, -1. 2 minutes of penalties, one block shot on net. Why, oh, why do the New York Islanders do this to Matt Barzal? Why? They have done this his entire career. They have thrown a dud with Matt constantly over and over and over again. And it's Matt on an island. Now, yes, Matt has Horvat, but you need three. I don't care if Simon Holmstrom is doing every single thing 100% correct. If a line doesn't have chemistry, it doesn't have chemistry and never will. Why are you bringing down the first line by continuing to hold on to Simon Holmstrom? Like I said, I don't care if he's playing and doing all the small details right. Oh, great back checking, board checking, hitting, board work, all of it. I don't care. If they're not scoring, then you have to do something about it. There's no chemistry with these three guys, zero chemistry because Simon Holmstrom is not a first line player. I don't care what Simon Holmstrom looks like in practice. I don't care if he's doing everything right. There's no chemistry. Get him off that line. It's just bringing the first line down. I mean, because of Barzell and Horvat, we still get some chances, but not at the rate we should be getting out of the first line. We should be getting way more, not just production, but just more push from the first line, pinning the other team into the end. In that we're not getting that with Simon Holmstrom. It's Barzell and Horvat all by themselves. So, talking about Matt be a -2, one to be an empty netter, obviously, and yeah. Uh, I pretty much said about Barzell what I need to say about Barzell and while I was talking about Holstrom. He's out there doing his thing. And I'll tell you this, Barzell was out there for one shift with the fourth line. And to me, it looked like he had more chemistry with McLean than he did have with Holstrom. And he's played with him last year and he's played with him this year. And in one shift, I could see more chemistry between McLean and Barzell than I have seen between Holstrom and Barzell. To me, it seems like Bo Horvat is more affected by Holmstrom being on the first line than Barzell. Barzell still can make things happen. However, I still think Barzell could make a lot more things happen with a better line mate. But Horvat seems to be more affected than Barzell of playing with Holmstrom. And I think Holmstrom is bringing Bo's game down more than it is at Bars. Not that Bars or Horvat are playing bad. It's just they could be better and a lot more better than they are right now. And I don't really blame them. The chemistry's not there. I played with duds before. I have played with duds. I'll tell you, if there's one thing about hockey I always hated as I was going up in my playing time in that was just how political the game of hockey can be. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like I've been on teams where coaches with their son get all 100% preference. I political. This coach knows this kid's dad and they're good friends, so he's getting this ice time and that. I one time demanded a trade mid-season on a first place team because I wasn't getting the ice time I deserved because of all the political crap that was going on around me. Now, just to piss me off, they were so mad at me that I demanded a trade. I sat out a game. I wouldn't play until they traded me. They sent me to the worst team in the league. And I was happier than a pig and shit. I was. I got my ice time, and what had happened is that team was just beat to the core from injuries. And we got another couple of free agent pickups throughout the year. And lo and behold, we made it into that fourth place spot in the playoffs, coming all the way up from the basement. And guess who I had to play? And guess what? Yes, we upset them. And it was one of the best years of my entire life. I stuck up for myself. I didn't go with the political crap. And the reason I'm talking about this is because there's political crap going on right now with the Islanders. This thing with Holstrom just holding on to him. Like, he's doing a great job on the first line. Oh, maybe he's doing a great job on the first line. He very well may be, but come on, man, use your head. If there's no chemistry, it doesn't work. And I hate the political part of this game. And bringing Matt Martin, holy man. Okay. Moving on, I'm getting sidetracked. I had a feeling this would happen. Like I said, I know I'm going to forget a ton of things that I'm really ticked off about. But yeah, we'll go into Matt Martin next. Like Matt, if by some reason you somehow stumbled onto this video, please don't think I hate you. I love you as an Islander. I will always think of you as one of the greats in some hard times that brought us into good times, and you were a big part of it, Matt. And that fourth line identity line was revolutionary actually in the game of hockey. You guys actually absolutely changed the landscape of hockey. But you know what? You have to know when to hang him up. And Lou, you have to know when to let him go. And this is one of those head shakers for me. Like, why would you have Matt Martin and Engvall on the ice in the last minute of a period and get scored on like that in the last 2 minutes? Like, I just don't get it. The guy hasn't played a game all year. And was a -1? Yeah. Yeah, they looked like a fourth line tonight. As a matter of fact, that looked like our old fourth line of last year. That they looked bloody awful. Bloody awful. That's all I got. That's all I got to say to that. I'll get to McLean later. He was the only saving grace for that fourth line. But yeah, he was Matt was -1, 9:45 of ice time. Let's see. Did you get any hits, Matt? Yeah, you got that one hit. Oh, he's credited with 2 hits. Big deal. Did you drop the gloves with the chook? That's what you really should have done. You want to show, hey, thanks for signing me? Then do what you should have done. And you know it, Matt. And like I said, if you ever somehow stumbled on this video and actually watched it long enough to get to this part, I'd be absolutely 100% amazed. But if you do, man, hang him up. It is time. I love you to death. I know you may be fantastic in the locker room. You can find another way to hang around this team. I know as an athlete how hard it is to hang it up. I know that. I know it. It's one of the most difficult things in the world to do, especially when it's been your life forever. But man, come on. what is Matt Martin doing on this team right now? Seriously, like there's no way Foodie shouldn't be playing over Matt Martin. I don't know what Gauthier's doing wrong with the details of the game, but there's no way that Matt Martin should be playing over Gauthier. There's your politics, people. It's just it's so frustrating, and it brings back so many old memories for me of all the politics I dealt with in hockey over time. And it's one of the most frustrating things. I actually, one year when I was 16, I was so fed up with all the politics and the pressure that I was getting from everybody, from my parents, from my coaches, from everybody, that I just said, screw it, not playing this year. And they came running after me about 3 games into the season because they were off to a bad start, and they kept going, "Oh well, it won't be like the way it's going to be." And anyway, like an idiot, I went back and started playing, but only if my mother would take every second game off from watching. She was my worst critic by a mile. Man, she was a tough little general, that 5 foot mummy of mine. Pierre Engvall, wow. I thought to myself, can I really be mad at Pierre Engvall? I can't be mad at Pierre Engvall for signing a 7 year contract at $3 million. If I sucked at hockey and somebody offered me that, I would certainly sign that contract as well. So, Pierre, I don't blame you, but you are instead of being Pierre Engvall, you should be Pierre Enigma, because you do nothing. You do nothing. What a night, eh, folks? I'm pretty happy with that fourth line. I'm sure you can tell. What a joke. Kyle Palmieri, another stellar game for him. No, nobody played good in the second or third period, but outstanding first period by Palms again. Another 2 point night for him, even though he was -1. One would be an empty netter, that -1. And he was out there for 18 minutes of ice time. Looked fantastic out there, playing great. But like I said, nobody played good in the second and third period. But I'm just going off his first period performance, which was absolutely outstanding, and his performance for the entire season has been outstanding. Another good game for Anders. He's got zeros across the board, but a good game by him. I thought the third line was pretty good. Uh, yeah, not as good as they had been, but they were solid. They third line didn't really hurt us at all tonight, not at all. Anders' ice time was down a little bit, down to 16 and a half minutes, but some things were getting juggled up a bit there, and Anders got a bit of power play time on the first line tonight. Brock, well, it's Brocktober, so Brock scores, and another guy who had a really good first period, but not the greatest second and third periods. So, but rinse and repeat for the me saying not a good second and third period. I just stamp it on everybody. They all get the same thing. I was talking about Kurt McLean, -2. Not good, but you ain't getting no blame for me, Kyle. No blame for me. I was watching you tonight, and I could see you working your butt off out there, and we're getting no help. No help at all. You did everything you could in your 11 minutes and 11 seconds of ice time. Yeah, I felt for you, buddy. As a fourth liner, the last thing you want to be doing is walking off the ice with a -2, and especially when you're not getting any help from the two guys beside you. I so felt for you, Kyle. I really did. Pajot, I thought a very blasé game, -1, 17 and a half minutes of ice time, even though I did think the third line was okay. Okay. But yeah, I thought Casey Zizekas had a good night though, and I thought that's one of the reasons why the third line stood out. I thought him and Anders were the reasons why third line stuck out tonight, not Pajot. Casey even came up with an assist tonight and got himself a +1 for the evening. That's why I thought the third line was good, and I think they could have been better. And the reason I think they could have been better was because of Pajot. So that's pretty much the way how I saw that pan out. Mike Riley. I thought he had a fairly good game, but I like that he shoots. He's got his two shots on net. He got 18 minutes of ice time. He had to pick it up a little bit tonight in the ice department. So I thought overall he played fairly good. He had a couple of bad giveaways, but like I said, with Mike Riley, I accept a few warts from him as long as he provides the other stuff like the shooting the puck, which he did, the two shots on net, the rushing the puck up the ice, which he did, and good clearouts, which he was fairly good at tonight. Not too bad. Adam Pelech, I thought once again was outstanding. I got a little bit of mind block on the goals against us. I didn't really see all the players on the ice. I more seeing red of being upset. So uh, I don't know who's on the ice for what goals, but you know what? Adam came through with a with an even tonight, so that's a good game for him. Uh, I thought his defensive play was just like last night's defensive play. I really thought he was outstanding. So uh let's see, Ryan Pulock. I saw Pulley make a couple of really sweet moves tonight. I really did. He he had a good game. He had a good game. He was a plus, and he had an excellent game. Both Pellick and Pollock had an excellent game tonight, which is really good. Mayfield, I thought he had a little bit rougher game. I was real disappointed in no response from Mayfield after seeing Chuck do what he did to Varley after scoring the goal, before the goal, during the goal. There should have been some sort of response there. He's just doing his kind of his banging game again. And Noah, great flashes in the first period. Man, the defensive game needs so much work. I just want Noah to play like a man. I know I've talked about this before. There's certain tall, lanky guys, they look lazy playing hockey, but they're actually not lazy, but they look it. I know this type of player. I played with this type of player, and I know how it can look one way, but I also know from experience of being beside them that I know how hard they're trying. So I'm hoping that's what's with Noah, but I don't see that. I just don't see that. I just don't see Noah playing like a man. And when I mean a man, I mean angry, angry man, angry man. He's a defenseman. He should be playing angry man along the boards, and he's not. He's just little push here, little push there. Let's try to get position. I'll hold it against the boards and try to work it out. Get mad, Noah. Get mad and play defense like it's supposed to be played, hard-nosed hockey, and you're just not doing it. Just not doing it. And like I said, a good first period. He was jumping up in the play, and he was looking good there doing that. But yeah. Chalosky, he didn't get a whole lot of ice time. He giveth and he taketh. He giveth by scoring a beauty goal, and he taketh with his defensive play, giving pretty much a goal all on him by coming all the way across the ice for absolutely no reason to get that puck and giving up the chance to Florida to score there. It was really bad play. But you know, tonight is the first night I'm coming a little bit critical of coaching. I have been a little bit. There's been a couple points with Patrick that I'll bring up every once in a while, but there's unless Lou is shoving the fourth line down his throat. Uh, there's one thing that for me was just pretty unforgivable tonight, and I just couldn't believe I was actually seeing what I was seeing, and I really was. We had Chalosky and it was Mayfield. Mayfield and Chalosky were together, I believe it was. Like, why are you putting that defensive pair out with the fourth line? That's who was out with the fourth line tonight. Was those two D men. If I was going to put out that fourth line and I saw the way they were playing and whatnot, there is no way that fourth line would be stepping on the ice unless Adam Pelech and Ryan Pulock were fully ready and raring to go out in the ice with them. That was just the weakest five I think I've ever seen the Islanders put out the ice. That's so not true because I've seen some of the 90s teams and some of the early 2000 teams, but you know what I mean. It was just like, so I'm going, that's bad coaching. That's bad coaching. You shouldn't, there's no way you should be pairing that D up with with that fourth line. It's just no way. No way. Uh Patrick's failure to not see the chemistry with Holmstrom on the first line and do something about it. That I find disappointing. There's a lot of things that I'm very happy about with Patrick, and that's the gap control and all those kind of things. I mean, the game fell apart on us tonight, but overall, I'm pretty happy with how Patrick's got the game structured for us. But he's missing the mark on a couple of spots here, and I think we need him to kind of wake up a little bit here and start moving some pieces around and start putting these pieces in the proper place. And I will also say, you don't take a player like Wallstrom, who did everything you asked of him on the fourth line, then promote him for one game and have a good game on the third line, and then bring in Matt Martin and Pierre Engvall and play him before Wallstrom. You want to know why Wallstrom has no confidence? Look no freaking further than that. There is your prime example, and this has been done to Wallstrom over and over and over again. This kid's never going to get any confidence. If I was Wally, I would say, get me out of here, man. Trade me somewhere. There's no way I would put up with the crap that Wally's put up with the Islanders. I know Wally has his warts, but political, political. And I'll just leave it at that. And I guess I got to talk about a little bit about Barley here. I didn't talk about him. He looked like a backup tonight. He was horrible. He was horrible. Like yeah, I got nothing more to say. You're is our backup goaltender. He's horrible. Everybody knows I'm Varley's biggest supporter, so I can say he was horrible. He was horrible, terrible. So we fall to 3-3-2, and thankfully, somehow we're surviving this whole mess by sticking around 500, and everybody else is faltering around the NHL too. There's no such thing as a guaranteed win by any team in the NHL anymore. It just doesn't happen. People are beating everybody, and I don't see this as an early season thing. I see this as a league that is so tightly parodied that this is just the way of the new NHL, and that's the way it's going to be. I think, in my beliefs. Anyway, could not be more disappointed in the Islanders tonight, but I guess I'm going to leave it at that. So, all you guys and girls out there, peace out.